And welcome to another episode of The Fresh Bunch. This is Mike from Jet Fresh Flowers in Miami, Florida, along with the great Mimi Pacheco,
Yay.
Ryan Black, and Joel. And today's podcast, we're going to talk about getting back to work, getting the kids to school, the fucked up summer that we all endured, tariffs,
all of the good stuff, Mike.
free trade agreements, all kinds of crap.
Well, first of all, thank God you guys are back. I missed you guys last week. On the road with Dolly was awesome, but nothing like my guys.
No, you guys did fine. You guys held it down.
Yeah. Well, you were in Italy enjoying the good life.
That was that was a good trip. A lot of fun, but happy to be back.
And Mike is not even permanent yet because he's still back and forth, back and forth. I think I was talking about he must have the best frequent flyer miles.
Yeah, I got a lot of miles logged this summer, and we ain't done yet. I still got quite a few trips to go.
Mm-hmm.
But I was telling mommy that I don't give a shit how many planes, how many trains, how far I got to drive. I don't really care as long as I get back here for a while. I'm good with it.
Nice.
And I used to get really pissed off and frustrated every time the plane was delayed or canceled or some shit like that. But I mean, I'm just so used to it now. Like, oh, well, okay, well, the flight's canceled. It's not, yeah, right. It's today's modern air travel. These guys are overselling the planes. I have seen many times people yelling and screaming at the agents because they overbooked and they happen to be the one that get picked to be bumped off the flight. I've seen them screaming and yelling and threatening. And I'm looking at these gate agents like, what do they know? They're not in control of it. The computer is running everything. And then if they're lucky enough, they can call a supervisor to come and handle it. But usually a supervisor ain't around. So people are just pissed off in general. But like, I mean, I think it's a little greedy of the airlines to be overselling the tickets, just in anticipation of somebody not showing up to guarantee that they actually fill up the flight 100%.
Yeah.
I don't think that's fair. I think if a person buys a ticket, it should be able to get on the plane.
Absolutely.
But am I going to lose my mind over it and cause a scene? Probably not. I cause a scene when I take the same exact bags on the plane and someone gives me a hard time about the same bags going back on the plane on the way back.
The bag situation.
How do you think I got here?
The bag situation is really an issue, I think, on the planes lately. Like this last flight I was taking, people were fighting to get off because of connecting flights. And, you know, the agents always say, please let the people who have connecting flights get off. And
that happened to me.
And this poor little girl, this guy was so worried about his luggage that he didn't even realize he hit this poor little girl and they were having a connecting flight. And it was just horrible. I feel so bad.
Yeah. Most of the time on American Airlines, I have Group 1. Even if I'm sitting in exit row or whatever, I'm still Group 1. And I'll be standing there, like there'll be 3 or 4 of us just standing there like 15 minutes before the flight. And every time some person or persons pretend like they're looking at their phone or they're looking into outer space and they just step right in front of you. They don't give a shit. They just step right in front of you, very disrespectful, because they're in a bigger rush to get to their first class seats than you are. And they will turn around and they'll ask you, you're not first class, are you?
According to, don't worry, Mike, because now that autumn has begun and children are back in school.
Sometimes I get first class upgrades. Sometimes I get it. Sometimes I'll even buy it if it's cheap enough. They'll send me an email and say, hey, for $100 you could upgrade. I'm like, yeah, okay. Sounds good.
But traveling will be going down. So those people who can, book now. Enjoy the childless airplanes, because that's what, according to AI, there is a decreased number in travelers because of the schools going back. So that's a good thing.
Bullshit.
Well,
bullshit.
We'll test it.
I call bullshit. Every airport is full of people. Doesn't matter what day, what time, they're full. Absolutely full. There's so many people flying somewhere. I don't even know where everybody's going.
Well, the cash and carry I have seen pick up here in the cash and carry, I guess, because school started. So that's good too, though.
What, florists only work when there's kids are
I don't know.
In school?
Maybe it's the summer, but I did see like a couple people have posted like, oh, kids are back in school. I'm back to my favorite place. You know, I guess more events are happening.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Well, good.
Business
Come on
is
down.
picking up.
We're waiting for you. Come on down. 7725 Northwest 41st Street. We got parking spaces for you. We got white glove treatment.
Oh yeah.
We got jet miles, rebates. We've got
And if you don't want to come
boxes. We've
down,
got
we got fresh
bunches.
delivery.
Yeah. White glove service. Whoa. It's a windy day here at the lake. The doors are slamming.
Whoa.
Or your mom's pissed
Whoa.
off at me. I ain't sure which. Could be either one.
What'd you do?
What didn't I do? So July, I was talking to Gary, the accountant. July was a horrible, horrible month for us. The colleagues that I have spoken to pretty much have had a horrible summer. This summer was, for whatever reason, a little extra brutal.
Do you think that was across the board, or do you think that was?
Yeah. I think it's across the board. And you know what I also think? I think like historically we've encouraged vacations in the summer. Don't take your holidays, don't take your vacations on the high season. Take it on the low season. I was talking to Casey the other day. I was like, man, we should encourage people to take it on the busy season, because on the busy season, we really don't need salespeople to push. But on the slow season, we need bodies. You
got to work harder to get the same.
Yeah. So like, if you live in Florida, I think you should probably take your vacation in the winter.
I mean, yeah, it depends on where you're going, because obviously, peak travel season for most destinations are summer. So
yeah. But
there's some.
I don't know. It's like when we had pretty much every week this summer, at least 2 key people that should be on the phones off. And then the rest of the team has to cover them. So there really isn't any time to get that last box sold.
I would just like to see Edwin submitting his vacation request right around Mother's Day and see what happens.
Celine just submitted for 2028, but it's because she wants to go to Egypt. So I get it. Like that, you have to plan ahead of time.
I think she gets 4 weeks now.
Yeah, she's been there long enough. Yeah, over 10 years.
And we're paying for it. In July, we paid for it. August probably ain't much better. But I'm optimistic because the numbers in September have already improved coming out of the gate. And coincidentally, the flower market has dried up as far as demanded rose varieties. You know, your popular whites, your popular peaches and quicksands, and even orange is demanded a little sooner than normal this year. But
yeah, no, you can feel it in the cooler in the warehouse. Like it definitely feels like the energy is more. It's up. Things are moving around faster.
Yeah, that's good to hear. So yeah, if you had a sucky July, send us a message.
Well, July
we'll send you a box of Kleenex.
July saw notable headwinds across key sectors of labor markets, manufacturing, services, global retails. So, I mean, everybody was feeling it. But I think we're gonna see a lot of positive things coming up.
Well, the labor market's still really short here in Miami. I'm not sure about the rest of the country, but in Miami, the people that are working, in warehouses and stuff, because of the visa expiration dates that the government accelerated, a lot of people just don't want to be out in the street, because even if they're here legally with residents, they're afraid. People are just afraid.
Yeah.
I went down the rabbit hole the other day looking at Instagram of ICE arresting people.
Don't do that, Mike. Don't do that. Yeah. Don't.
I couldn't stop watching it. Because it was blowing my mind.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to Home Depot. What the fuck is in Home Depot?
But as an empath,
there's no
Mike,
criminals
you can't
at
be
Home
watching
Depot.
that. You're just looking for your heart to be
No.
broken.
I know I'm not supposed to talk about politics and all this other shit, but that's pissing me off. Like this, there are hardworking people that have been in this country paying taxes for many, many, many years, are being separated from their families because they went to court. It's fucked up.
Yeah.
It's fucked up. Right in front of their kids. They do it right in front of the children. It can't be fake.
No, it's
gotta
not
be real.
fake. No, it's not fake.
It's got to be real.
It's real, but what I'm saying, I'm trying to disconnect from social and from the news as much as possible, and you can see a significant increase in my serotonin. It's just like it's just a Debbie.
It makes me really sad.
I know.
It makes me really sad because the lion's share of what I see on social media ain't criminals. Their only crime is being here.
And I'm working.
Which, I mean, reopen Ellis Island. Let's do something, reopen it. That's how we used to do it. That's how we built this country. What can I say? Mike for president.
I'd vote for you. What's the number one thing
Yeah,
you'd
it's,
campaign on?
What's the number one, what I would campaign on?
Yeah, on the mic for president,
I don't know.
Miss Piggy,
There's two,
Miss Piggy Roses guaranteed
the
in
list
every
is
household.
long. The list is long. Yeah. Knock, knock.
Knock knock. Who's there?
Hi,
So-
Christine.
Hi, Christine.
Hello, Christine.
Hey, how are you? I'm here to support you, Mike. I hear
Thank
that
you.
you're running for president.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Yes.
Christine, we'll be
what
wearing
what cabinet position would she be?
Yeah, I would be whatever he needs me to be.
Mm-hmm. That's the truth.
Thank you. We need you. We need you. Marco Rubio is in Ecuador right now having a meeting with Danielle Novoa.
Yeah.
Well, first, let's introduce Christine. Let's tell the world who's on the phone here.
So I'm Christine Boldt. I'm from the Association of Floral Importers of America. And I represent all the flower importers here. Anyone who is an importer of record is able to be a member of the association. And I'm the proud executive vice president and love this industry.
And how many years have you been advocating for this industry, Christine?
So as the executive director of the association, I have been there for 21 years. And of course, have a history before that with the industry, but here running the association for the last 21 years.
I love that it's now the Americas.
It has to be.
Last
The
year
IFA?
Uh-huh.
AFIA.
AFIA.
Yeah, instead of AFIF, AFIA. Yeah.
It sounds more, you could sing it better.
Sing it.
AFIA instead of AFIF. AFIA.
Nice.
Yes.
Like, you're going to have to get a jingle.
Yeah, jingle perspective is much better, for sure.
I think you should get a jingle, Christine. Put it in next year's budget.
There you go. Uh-huh.
Willie Armelini is the industry
He's
standard
the
for jingles.
official jingle creator.
You get the friends and family discount.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So AFIA collaborates with agencies like the USDA, Customs Border Homeland Security, Miami International Airport, Port of Miami, and many more, all of to collect data for the importers, right?
Correct. So the association represents all of the importers of record with all the agencies so that we can collectively, as an industry, have a bigger impact and make sure that we're all not only have a voice, but actually have a seat at the table to make sure that we can work together, since flowers is the biggest importing product into South Florida.
And you guys advocate for the duty-free access for imported flowers.
Sure.
Is that only for South America, or is it for all over?
No, it's for anyone who imports from anywhere. Over the years, obviously, when the industry started in the 60s and 70s, we had very limited importing. But now we get products from all over the world. So AFIA represents importers that import from anywhere all over the world, because importing into the United States has gotten easier. But also, as we know, with a lot of these tariffs and stuff, it's become more complicated. So it provides an opportunity for anyone who has questions or wants to know that there is someone there representing them, that we are there for them.
And that's exactly why you're here today.
I've told this story a bunch of times, but the first thing that I ever wanted to invest in when we started our company, Ryan, was to be a member of, at that moment, was AFIF, now AFIA. I wanted to be a member because not only did I think it was going to give us a little bit more credibility because you're a part of an association of respected other companies, it would help us navigate through all the problems that people face every day. And for years, I've been trying to say to the people, and I hope that you're listening out there, if you're importing flowers, like the biggest stab in my heart is when I'm talking to a customer, a former customer, a potential customer, and they say, I don't buy in Miami, I import everything myself. And I'm like, well, good for you, but where's your contributions to AFIA? Why aren't you a member of AFIA? Why are you bypassing, blacklisting, or whatever you want to call it, the middleman in Miami, which you got your rights to do? I'm not saying that's the wrong way to do business. I would do the same, but you're not paying your fair share. And we need you. We need you to pay your fair share. We need, the more dollars we have, from your membership, the more Christine can get done. And it isn't by some strange miracle that extra inspectors arrive in Miami every holiday to help you move your flowers faster. It's not some kind of magic wand that gets waved and the truck lines get negotiated with as far as, receiving times. And there's just so many moving parts that behind the scenes, Christine and her team are making happen every year. And these people are out there, they're proudly being importers, and good for you, but you should become a member and be a real, not just an importer, but be an investor in your own business.
Yeah, because
invest your money in their own business.
AFIA,
you're not doing it.
AFIA plays a pivotal role in why we have such quality flowers out there now. Like, we have this good quality because we've had growth because of this association. So
long-time listeners would know that was like on the bingo card. AFIA was on the bingo card for early episodes. It was a constant conversation piece.
Yeah.
Well, it's true. It's true. And now, I don't know about all, but some of these monster logistics companies here in Miami are the importer of record for hundreds of farms. Hundreds, not 5, 6, 10. Hundreds of farms. They are hosting their inventory in their buildings. They are importing far more volume than most independent importers are importing, and they ain't members. They don't invest. It's all about the kilos. So I call those guys out too. If you got one of those big logistics companies and you are the importer of record in behalf of hundreds of small, medium, and large farms, and you have a big operation going on, you ain't a member. You're asking guys like us to pay your way. So I encourage you, please join and invest your money in your own business. Invest your money smartly. That's all I got to say about that. I'm off my soapbox now. Sorry, I had to do it. Every time I'm around Christine, I do it. I have.
Did you mute him?
I didn't mute him.
How'd you do that, Christine?
You muted yourself, Mike.
Oh,
there you go.
I didn't know. Well, I don't know what you heard, but whatever. Doesn't matter.
That was pretty funny though, because I'm off my soapbox.
It's funny.
Okay,
the AI is taking over the edits already.
What can I tell you? So, Christine,
Yes.
let's talk about the big conversation.
The big T.
What's happening today with Marco Rubio and Daniel Novoa having a cup of tea together? What's happening? What are they talking about? Bananas, or are they talking about flowers?
Well, let's hope they're talking about a mutual relationship between Ecuador and the U.S. The one good thing is that starting at the beginning of this year, there were a couple meetings between Ecuador, the embassy, the Chamber of Commerce, and actually just last week or the week before, there was a big flower importer that was in Miami in DC, having meetings with USTR, having meetings with the Department of Commerce and that type of stuff about how important it is to have a relationship with Ecuador, and flowers are a main product that comes out of Ecuador. So we need to work on having a mutual agreement so that our tariff rates for Ecuador are not so high. You know, the history of the U.S. and Ecuador not having a mutual trade agreement has been for many, many years. They were sitting at the table when Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, all of them were there. They chose to walk away. So, and of course, you know, we don't have to go through history, but there was a lot of bad history with the presidents of the, So, I mean, and then, you know, so we had a lot of things that were not in our favor, but now we do. We have a president who is in favor of working on an agreement with the U.S. And we have some in this administration that are willing to sit at the table and have a conversation. This administration, you know, we know from the very beginning when it started that tariffs were going to be a big part of it. I don't think anyone, especially in the flower industry, ever imagined that Colombia and Ecuador and some of the other countries would be where we are today. But we see that, the 10, 15, 20% tariffs are going to be a baseline. Because it's part of his message about what he wants to have happen to pay for some of the programs. So I think, you know, we have to be prepared that even if we have an agreement, like Colombia has a free trade agreement that we are going to have tariffs because that's our new baseline. So really, Mike, to answer your question is we are hoping that we can continue the conversation between Ecuador and the U.S. Even if they have a conversation right now and agree that they want to move forward, it takes years to have something actually in play and to be implemented. So we need the conversations to start and start moving in the right direction. And hopefully we can do that. I mean, Ecuador dollarized a long time ago, so they have a direct tie to the U.S. and the currency. So why not have a good relationship with the U.S. and Ecuador?
So, Christine, I've had customers, I have a conversation with customers about the tariffs. Some of them have been brainwashed by the media. They are of the opinion that the countries that is exporting the flowers are the ones that are paying the tariffs. And then it gets added to the cost of the products without realizing that it's the U.S. importer that's paying the tariffs. And not only just paying the tariffs, we pay the tariffs every damn day.
Right.
There's no 30-day terms. There's no send you an invoice, I send you a check. There's none of that. It's I go in your bank and I take what you owe. And what I say you owe is what you owe. And if I'm wrong, good luck fighting me on it. That's what it is. And we have now become bankers because now we need to figure out how to finance all these tariffs that were never in the equation. I don't care how small, medium, or large your company is. It's a whole new headache for you.
Correct. Yeah, no, and you're absolutely right, Mike. I mean, no one saw this coming. No one understood that this was going to be across the board for everyone, every product. And that has been devastating for the industry. So you're absolutely right. Most people, some people even in the industry don't understand how it works. I mean, you guys as importer of record, anyone who's an importer of record pays that when it crosses the border. So sometimes you may have 3, 5, 7, up to 10-day terms, but you have to pay it right away. So those tariffs are paid right away. You turn around and sell it to whoever you're selling it to. And if they have 30 or 60-day terms, you're not getting the money back to pay those tariffs for 30 or 60 days. So there's a lot of logistics that people didn't realize. So absolutely, from day one, when the tariffs went into effect, the importers of record had to find a way to finance that, which was not in the equation. And it's not even just about the financing the money, because now you also have to make sure your bonds cover the additional fees and cost of the fact that the products are higher. So there are consequences that
Can you speak about the bonds a little bit? People might not understand what that means.
Sure. So any importer of record, if you're importing any product whatsoever into the U.S., as an importer of record, you have to have a bond, which is a financial, like security, like insurance for the federal government, that product is going to be able to be legitimate and come into the country and have the ability to cover that if there's any insurance issues with it. So a bond is an insurance policy for every product. Well, a lot of times in the past, because we didn't have any duties that we were paying when we had free trade agreements, and we had we didn't have any duties for Ecuador either. We were able to have almost lower cost bonds because we didn't have any fees we were paying to the government. Now, because it's not only tariffs, but also the additional GSP money and stuff, the cost of that product and the insurance policy has to be higher. So if the more you bring in, the higher your policy has to be. And those policies, like a life insurance policy, can't just be changed overnight. You can't just call your bonding agency and say, hey, next week I need another $1 million coverage. It has to be a process because you have to be approved like with any other insurance policy. So, I mean, the importers of record have those type of things that most people, again, don't understand the logistics, and all of that has to happen. If you don't have enough bond coverage, you can't import. So you have to make sure that that's covering all of the stuff you're bringing in.
So, Christine, right now in the news, and I've been checking different outlets, but the Supreme Court is questioning the tariffs as we speak. I think there's a 7-4 ruling in the U.S. Supreme Court right now about the tariffs that they needed Congress to be able to invoke these tariffs. So if this happens, like if they decide that the tariffs that
Administration.
the administration, thank you,
The executive order.
the executive order would then what would happen? Would the importers then get their money back?
So that's a big question right now. So when the president decided to do these executive orders, he put it out there that it was an emergency, order. And now the courts are determining that he was kind of stretching. We don't have an emergency in order to put these tariffs in place. So the courts are saying that it's not really an emergency. He put it in place and it should have been done through did not go through Congress, but the courts have determined that it wasn't legal, but the administration has the ability to appeal it. So the courts are not going to put it, do any changes until the appellate courts have completely gone through the process. So that's at play. Now, the question that is now being faced by potentially importers is, if you weren't a part of the original suit, because obviously the government had to be sued for this. So there were companies that went to and filed a suit and said that these were illegal. So the question now is, if in the end it is determined to be illegal, are only the companies that were a part of the lawsuit going to get their money back, or is it all importers of record going to get their money back? That is a big question now that's coming out of this, and we don't know. So we are currently having some discussions trying to figure out if this is something we need to worry about for the flower industry, because there's two, things of thought. Do we need to be a part of the suits, or do we need to just sit back and wait and see what the courts determine? Either one could have consequences, because if you become a part of a suit, then you have legal expenses. So is the industry willing to pay legal expenses to be a part of a suit that we don't know where it's going? On the other hand, do we want to sit back and wait? And if it is determined illegal, are they going to say only the importers that were part of the suit get the money back? It's just a huge unknown. We don't know.
And when you get the money back, it's income. You got to pay taxes on it.
Well, yeah. I mean, but yeah.
I learned the hard way last time.
Yeah. No, and that's, so there's this, because all of this was thrown, and obviously the flower industry, because we're a penny industry, it kind of affects us a little differently. So to Mike's point, yes, the administration can go out and say that the countries are paying these tariffs, but it's absolutely not true. The importer of record is the one who gets the bill when the product arrives at the border. So the importer of record has to pay the bill. Now, whether the importer of record has negotiated with their suppliers or not, that's up to them. But the importer still has to pay the duty no matter what the negotiations are. So the importers of record are the ones paying, and they're the ones financing the whole thing. I think that, there have been a lot of questions.
To borrow the money to finance it, it costs interest, and that's a lot of money every month.
Yeah. And of course, remember, it's not just the flower industry that's paying this, is every product from everywhere that's, paying it. So, there was questions at the beginning, especially before the summer started, when are we going to feel the effects? My personal opinion is you're now going to start feeling, between now and the end of the year, every American is going to feel the effects, not just from the flower industry, but from everything.
Oh, yeah. We're already feeling it. Already feeling it. Yeah.
Yeah. We had random little niche companies and things like that have closed down because they can't get their products in anymore for a certain price, all kinds of things.
Yeah. A cup of coffee, $6.
Yeah. The other ruling that came out, that, was a big shock to a lot of companies, to Ryan, to your point about a lot of small niche companies, is in the past, anything that was under $800 that was imported came in under a limited, they weren't taxed. So any of these things that were coming from like Temu, Shein, directly from China, or, little parts and stuff like that, they weren't taxed. And actually during COVID, that stuff exploded. And even here in Miami, they had to come up with Customs and Border Protection had to come up with a solution, because it went from 100,000 packages a day to millions of packages a day. So in order to get all that stuff through and inspect it, they had to come up with different ideas on how to do that. So there's a centralized examination station for that stuff now. But not only is that where now those companies have to pay a fee to bring the stuff there and have it examined, but now anything that comes in is going to be taxed no matter what the amount is.
Oh.
So there's going to be a huge, in my opinion, there's going to be a huge decline in that stuff because millions and millions of packages were coming in a day that weren't being taxed, didn't have a fee, and they were just going through the system. And now they have to pay to have them inspected, and it has to be taxed.
Wow.
So it's going to take longer. So before, I mean, you could order something from, like, for instance, Temu and get it, in a few days or up to a week. It's going to take a couple weeks now to get that stuff in because it has a lot more of a process.
You mean like if you buy something on Alibaba or Amazon or one of those places coming from China or a different country, when it has to pass, even if it's just a small package, $100, whatever it is, you have to pay a tariff on that now.
Mhm.
Correct.
So also all those Amazon, the smaller companies that sell on Amazon, you're going to start feeling it and seeing the prices increase significantly on those items on Amazon as well.
I wonder how those websites figure out the money when it comes to paying those tariffs, because they got to be paid as they cross.
You know that I did try to buy something on Temu because I got stuck on that little wheel that gives you the free item. And you're like, well, it's a free item, I might as well.
Yeah.
No. They're already building those tariff costs inside the transaction by the consumer, Mike. So like it shows you a line for tariffs.
And for a lot of companies, that was like little parts that could be a part of another thing could come in and be duty free. Or if you were just trying to, if you in the United States, there's not a lot of automotive parts that are built here in the United States. A lot of them come from China, Taiwan, different places. So if you're trying to get your car fixed in an auto place and they have to order that part now is going to cost even more because there's no manufacturing of auto parts in the U.S. Everything, especially for older cars, everything comes from somewhere else. So now it's going to be more costly.
Hold on now. We have WeatherTech. Made in America. WeatherTech, you need a floor mat for your car. You can buy it, American-made floor mats.
Yeah.
Or you can get the cup phone, which
that doesn't help with
is a plastic insert that holds your telephone.
That doesn't help if you have a problem with your transmission or your radiator or
No. So it's funny you mentioned that. Our truck, up in New York, our truck broke down and it needs a power steering gear, a GMC power steering gear that is on national back order. There are hundreds of vehicles that are parked that cannot be driven because they cannot find the parts. And supposedly if you get like a salvage yard part and you connect it, it voids all the warranty. So you have to have only genuine part. So after 4 weeks of our car sitting at the dealer with no part and no way to get a part, I got on the phone. I started calling all around and I couldn't find one. And I wound up just trading in my truck because we needed a car. And I could see that that's clearly not made in the United States by GM. Otherwise, they'd be here.
Actually, a lot of car parts are from Mexico, and because of the change in the USMCA, a lot of those parts are now dutied, and so they're not manufacturing them there either because they can't afford it. So
that's a great segue into that whole conversation between.
A segue.
You ride that in?
What?
No worries.
You were saying?
That opens a question of what's going to happen when it's time to renew that agreement as far as agriculture.
Mm-hmm. And that question came from Green Park, from Carl from Green Park. He commented on our poll online and said, what is going to happen when the USMCA renewal agreement happens next summer?
So my opinion is, first of all, I mean, the Trump administration in the first time he was president, he was part of the negotiation with the USMCA. He was the one who implemented what's currently in place. So it was a big surprise when he came in this time and basically said, I don't want what's there, I want to change it, because he was part of what the negotiations were. So it's almost like the USMCA, which is United States, Mexico, and Canada, almost like it didn't exist. He made changes. He's, setting tariff rates every day on different things, different products, and what those tariff rates are. Some things are astronomical. So the bottom line question is, we don't even know what's going to happen in the next, month with USMCA. But right now, it's set to have a renewal on July 1st of next year. During that renewal, all three countries have the ability to look at what's been done over the last 6 years and determine whether it's something that's been beneficial or not, and if there are changes that needed to happen. If they don't agree to renew it, which would be renewed for 16 years, if they don't agree, it would phase out over a 10-year period. So nothing would happen like on July 1st if there's not an agreement. It would be a phase out period. But I would, my personal opinion is, whatever the next administration is, if this current administration doesn't come to an agreement with them, Mexico and Canada and the U.S. are way too together. All three countries are very, very important. And so there's going to be some agreement, and we may have to wait until the next administration, but at least there will continue to be discussions. Even with the flower industry, I mean, the trading between Canada and the U.S. for a lot of products back and forth is huge. And I know there were a lot of domestic growers that were really concerned when the tariffs first went into effect for Canada, because there are a lot of things that just go across the border back and forth, and it would create problems for them, or it would be financially devastating where they couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah, it scares me. It scares me. That would be a big bite out of our whole industry if the Canadians and the Mexicans suddenly started to have to pay these high tariffs, which was for one day, I believe it was 25%. The Canadians paid tariffs one day, 25%. During that whole, we're charging it, we're not charging it, a couple months ago. They paid it for one day. And that one day was scary enough. Yeah. That one day was scary enough.
There's too much business that goes on between the three countries for there not to be some kind of agreement. So those high tariffs, again, my personal opinion doesn't really matter, but I just feel like why do we want to piss off in that respect partners of ours that have agreed for many, many years? And the USMCA was an agreement between the three countries. And again, the current administration was part of that negotiation when it went into effect. So I think that there needs to be some understanding of how important we all are. I mean, we understand that, more manufacturing and more things want to happen in the U.S., but as we know in our current situation, there's no way to flip a switch and start growing flowers to the needs of the U.S. consumer here in the United States. It's just not going to happen. Last week there was a huge farm in Florida, and they have farms in California too that grow tomatoes. It's a huge growing operation. They said they just toiled them under because the market isn't there. They don't have the market that they used to have because of these agreements, and they don't have the labor.
They don't have people to pick those tomatoes. No.
Right.
Yeah. I know the company you're talking about. It's a huge company.
Yeah.
With a huge brand. Good luck getting a tomato at a fair price. It's a problem. It's a problem. And a lot of West Coast growers move their growing operations to Mexico. And they bring it back across and they pack it in the U.S. and they distribute it to the U.S. or they make bouquets and stuff like that. Yeah. That's crazy. It's never a dull moment, is it, Christine?
No, it's not. I mean, I think that's one of the things that, has always excited me over the years is there's no 2 years that are ever the same. This industry, as much stays the same, everything changes. So there's things that have been in effect and things have stayed the same, but then there's always changes. And it's always, one of my philosophies is I don't just look at today and tomorrow, I look at the future. So I'm constantly having, meetings with customs, USDA, the airport, with industry, and trying to make sure we're seated where we need to be for the future. Because if we just sat back and let everything happen, we wouldn't be where we are today, having 90% of all the products coming through South Florida.
Christine, where does all the money go? All the tariff money, where does it go?
Right now it goes into an account that the administration is using to try to help pay for their programs. They have a lot of programs that they wanted to, they let a lot of people go, but it wasn't enough. And so a lot of those tariff money is going into to pay for some of the programs that they wanted to have done. Look at what's just happened in the last week. the National Guard.
You mean
National
like pay
Guard.
for the ballroom and the rose garden, like that
I
kind
don't
of
know
stuff?
if it's paying for the ballroom and the Rose Garden. I mean, you know,
What kind of
administration's
programs
saying
does it pay for? Do you know?
it pays for programs like potentially building the rest of the wall. It helps pay for the, you know, military going into these cities. It pays for these, you know, immigration facilities that they're, you know, building. So a lot of it has to pay for those type of things. I mean, there are other things too, but a lot of it has to do with that, which is what his main goals were when he came into office.
Do you think if a breeder named a flower Melania would improve this situation at all?
I don't think the president, I don't think that would have
I don't
a,
think he cares. That's
He doesn't care?
definitely no. I mean,
Well, they
it would
name a
have to
flower
be,
after my wife. Let me give these flower guys a break. No?
maybe it would have to be.
You're gonna get sued for using the name.
Yeah, they would have to pay the Trump cost.
yeah, we'd have to pay. Yeah.
Although,
No, I don't think
I am happy about the tariffs were imposed before Mother's Day rather than in July. I think if it was after Mother's Day, I think the pill would not have been so easy to swallow for many people. I think that it would have kind of imploded a lot of our market worse than it already was.
I think one of the advantages, I don't want to say advantages because that's not the right, but one of the things was to our benefit was the administration didn't just say we're adding tariffs to the flower industry. They actually added tariffs to everything.
To everything,
So
yeah.
it was, so, you know, whoever you're selling to, and I say whoever, meaning whatever product you're selling that you're importing, it has tariffs on it now. So, you know, if you're a supermarket or if you're a wholesaler or whatever, it's not just one product or not just products from one country. It's everything's being tariffed. So, I mean, because I heard a lot of people say that it wasn't as hard as they thought it would be negotiating adding the tariffs because it was out there that everything is being tariffed. Now, not to say that everyone likes price increases. That's not the point. The point is it's not just the flower industry coming and saying, hey, our freight rates have gone up and we have to increase our, you know, and it's just for us. It's everything. Their ribbons, their, you know, their pots, their, you know, the flower, everything has increased.
I was talking to a very powerful supermarket supplier recently who told me that the supermarkets are accepting some of the increases and stuff, but a lot of them are just reacting by removing stems from the bunch without consideration that the grower grew those stems for them. So the grower loses either way. The grower either has too many stems, projections versus what reality is, or they have to eat part of the tariff or maybe even all the tariff to keep an order going. I mean,
well, again, Mike,
it kind of sucks.
Like, think about the logistics of that too. So if you built your boxes on so many bunches with so many stems in it, now all of a sudden you're taking out stems, but you still have the same number of bunches in the box. It's costing you logistically more to ship those boxes because you don't have as many stems to put. So even though they took a stem out because they don't want to pay for more, it's still costing the importer and the farm more money to ship those boxes. So have they really won? No, no one wins. No one wins.
No.
They're doing what everybody, not everybody, but a lot of other, you know, look at potato chip bags. There's barely anything in a potato chip bag
For
anymore.
real, I opened one the other day. The thing was like half full. It was all air.
What bag was it? What bag did you open?
Sweet potato chips from Aldi's, which I love those, but the bag is half empty.
Yeah, so shrinkflation has been happening with other products.
Shrinkflation.
Yeah, shrinkflation has been happening with other products on the shelves. I mean, cereal's another one. I mean, you know, canned or jars. I mean, mayonnaise and, you know, stuff like that. I mean, you're still paying $7 or $8, but the jar's gotten smaller. There's less in it. But no, I think that and so they thought that they were going to do that with the flowers, and it just logistically makes things more it makes everything more expensive when you take out one stem per bunch. So it really doesn't save the importer or the farm any money. It may save the supermarket.
The customer is looking to not increase their price by adjusting the stem count.
Yeah, the supermarket's going to pay less. I mean, they're just going to say, I'm still going to pay the same amount.
Yeah.
But the importer and the farm are still paying more money because they're taking stems out.
The process in the airport has slowed down a lot, not because of inspections or any of those guys. It's because they don't have labor in the airport. They don't have sufficient people to even load trucks. The whole process has been really slow because they don't have sufficient people. My son Jared is in staffing business, and he was explaining to me a while back that to get a job working on the airport, you have to get a background check and all kinds of things have to happen. And that could take 2-3 weeks. So if you're looking for a job and you got to wait 3 weeks to be approved, you ain't waiting around. You're going to look for a job somewhere else because you need a job. So it kind of sucks.
Actually, 2 or 3 weeks is quick. Because
really?
I've heard from the airport, it's even longer because, I mean, once you get the background checks and they approve you, you still have to go through either customs check and you have to get IDs and stuff like that because you can't go on airport property without all those things. And so sometimes, I mean, everybody has said it takes a minimum of a month to get an employee on board.
And you have to take the courses to pass them, so then you have to schedule that. It's not easy.
But that explains why it's so slow, the process to get your boxes off the airport. Unless you got one of those jet pallet deals where the truck picks it up off the plane and you're clearing it in your building. Like there's a few big companies that have that wonderful situation, but most of us are waiting to take our flowers off the airport, and it's a long process. It's taking a full day extra.
Yeah, Mike, you're absolutely right. I mean, there are a lot of requirements that were set in place a long time ago between the government, the flower industry, and the airlines, and a lot of that has waned. Not because any of us are not looking at it; it's because they don't have enough employees. And we really need to push and press because the importers are the ones who pay the bills for the airlines. So we need to push and press the airlines that they're providing us a service. We're not paying third world rates. We're paying high rates, and they need to provide that service. But which means that they need to hire more people. Yeah.
Yeah. But they're struggling with people. You could tell. And so, Christine, what about the over-the-road trucks? Aren't they affected by the crackdown on speaking English and proficient English and all this other stuff coming out of Miami? I read that there was a bunch of layoffs because drivers couldn't speak English. Do you know about that stuff?
Well, I mean, I think that there's, it's a bigger issue than speaking English. I think it has to do with the immigration crackdown. I think there's a lot less people applying to be truck drivers because of the fact that, maybe they don't have the right status. Maybe they can't do it. Also, that accident that happened last week with the driver who made the U-turn and caused, people to die. I think that has made a crackdown on making sure that trade schools or, these groups are not just putting anybody behind the wheel. But I think that during COVID, we didn't have enough drivers, and then there were more drivers than we needed. But I think with all of the things that are happening in the U.S., there's less drivers. It is a hard job. I mean, and I don't think a lot of people give truck drivers enough credit. No. It's not an easy job. And if you're if you're married or you have a family, it's not an easy job because you're away from your family all the time. So if you're single or, maybe it's your second career that you've decided to do, it's a different story. But it is a very hard job, and to try to keep people for long term, some drivers do it for a long time, but some drivers do it for, 3-4 years. And then they say, this is just not for me. So, and it takes a little while to get people to be, licensed to sit behind the wheel. It's not like driving a car where you can just go take a test and the next day you can start driving,
Yeah. Well, I read that there was a crackdown on interstate drivers that if they weren't proficient in reading and writing English, they weren't allowed to drive, and that they get like a big fine, and whoever employed them gets even a bigger fine, which is horrible.
That's crazy
because we're so wrapped around the trucking industry that we really need the trucking industry to be healthy.
Well, and it's hard here in especially in South Florida when, Florida was designated as a bilingual state so long ago. I mean, you can take the driver's test to get a driver's license completely in Spanish. And
Right.
there's no signs that are in Spanish. Everything's in English, but you can completely take your test. You can, read the book and do everything in Spanish. So,
Yeah.
I mean, where's the equality in that,
Well, you could change the navigation to speak whatever language you needed to speak.
Yeah, but
And
it's
you
not gonna
find your
tell you.
way.
Oh, I guess if you have a
That's-
smart car,
You
yeah.
find your way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So
So let's talk happy. We've spoken about all of the good. I mean, all of the big T talk, and learned a lot, right? But let's talk about future. What do you guys think? Unless
Doesn't sound happy.
unless that doesn't sound happy either. Oh, Christine, how do you
I think the
watch?
future for us in Miami is the tariffs are going to take a lot of the speculation out of our business.
Yeah.
It's so much more risky now to speculate.
There's more pressure.
To try to anticipate what your customers are going to need next week. It's going to be really hard. I don't know how any company will be able to sustain doing that for a long period of time to the level that we have historically done it.
And you and Casey being eager to test out new and interesting things when you see it in the offering, you're less likely to pull the trigger on that.
You see the results of that clearly from July and August numbers. I mean, summer has always been, it ain't how much you make, it's how much you don't lose. But once you're putting now another, I'll just use 20% as a number. Once you put 20% on top of what you're already speculating on, that's your margin on a good day.
Yeah.
Right.
That's your margin on a good day. So you dump that, you dump a third of that, you dump half of that on some weeks, you're dead in the water. And, I don't know anybody who's going to be exempt from that. And I think that there's going to be a lot more standing orders going on in the future. I think there's going to be a lot more supply going to have to come that way because no one can sustain this and endure the risk because everything's so unstable with the weather and this and that. It's bad. Like, you get a state that gets floods and rains and another state that's got a heat wave and power outages. Like every week it's somebody else. Fires and bad fires is always something that puts a damper into that particular area, hurricane, whatever it might be.
Right.
And so there's less places to sell sometimes.
Well, I think I agree with you, Mike. I think that there are going to be companies that have cut back on the speculation because it was one thing when you were paying, because you're still paying the logistics and then you have to pay the tariffs on top of it. And then if you have to pay the farm for the product too, and you don't know that you can sell it, you can't speculate as much anymore. So I think, how many years in the industry have we always talked about we would love customers to buy earlier so that we don't have to speculate so much? But I think that if customers find that there isn't inventory, then they're going to have to learn to react that way. And maybe that will help change that because it can't just always be the importer bearing all the burden of speculating. There has to be some understanding from the customers too, that bringing this stuff in is costly.
And all of these venture capital investments that are going on into acquiring companies and farms and wholesalers and groups buying each other and mergers and all that stuff. Do you think it's going to be as interesting now as it was, let's say, last year?
Would they have invested a year ago?
Yeah. Do you think they would be as aggressive knowing what they know today?
I guess it will depend on how they're doing, whether they're doing better or worse than what they thought. I think that it's an interesting change. Because obviously those of us who have been around the industry for a long time understand that there were investment things that happened previously and they didn't succeed. But it'll be interesting to see how these work going forward. But I think it helps take some of the financial strain as we started the conversation. The financial strain is now, backed by somebody who's a little more financially rather than a family operation.
Yeah.
So it helps with that.
You should see me with my abacus. I got an abacus trying to figure out the numbers.
Yeah, I think it helps with that. But I think that I mean, we know that the flower industry is not like anything else. The flower industry is very unique. And so, you have to be special to work in this industry, and you have to understand that it is unique. So just because you can sell, bananas and apples and pears doesn't mean you can sell flowers. It's totally different. And the logistics are similar, but not the same. So I think that, we all want more people to buy more flowers, and these next few months or these next 6 months will be where we'll determine where we are with the consumer. I mean, the consumer hasn't completely stopped buying flowers, but now that back to school has happened, and then when they turn to, holiday buying and stuff, is that going to affect us? I mean, yes, people are still going to get married. People are still going to have babies. People are going to still, have parties and stuff. But are we going to have that everyday stuff? And that's what we hope for, because that's what we've been striving for years, is to get consumers to buy flowers all the time. And that's what we need.
Halloween's going to be a big flower holiday.
Yeah, that'd be great.
It's catching up to Christmas. It's catching up to Christmas for how much people spend on decorations and stuff.
Ryan, the guy from The Bear?
Which guy?
Jeremy Allen, the cute guy.
He goes shopping for flowers every week, and he makes arrangements.
He does. They asked him on, I think it was one of the late night shows, they're like, why do you buy these flowers? And it's actually for his daughters. So that was really nice. It's really cute to hear. Everyone was thinking,
flowers for your daughters.
He says he likes the way they feel in his house, and he said that he buys them for his daughters.
That's great. We need him to be a national spokesperson.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Listen, if there was a show about like the bear, but in the floral industry, I think it could get really intense. The same amount of stress. There's a lot of similarities in that hospitality industry.
Yeah, Ryan told me that I should watch it. So me and Mom have been watching it, I don't know, for about a week now.
It's good, right, Mike?
And, well, Ryan said it reminded him of me.
Uh-oh.
In some ways. And I guess the bickering back and forth is what he's talking about.
I don't think so. I think it's the heart and drive. But
they get really intense.
No, I think it's the heart and drive that he has.
Very passionate.
Yes, very passionate. And then also a perfectionist, which is a very strong trait in the Black family.
Yeah.
You got to strive for it.
There you go.
No, but I like it. I like that he's bringing home flowers for his daughters or for himself. I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. It's a good show. I mean, that was a lot of information. I think that was a good amount to digest.
Well, you like Christine, you're going to get a lot of information.
No, in a good way.
Christine, what's your favorite show to watch? That's not the news.
The news is definitely not my favorite show.
How do you take in all this information like on a regular basis? You just got dossiers piled up on your desk.
Exactly. She's part of the AP. She gets it straight to her.
I do subscribe to a lot of things. So every day, a big part of what I do is reading all of the stuff that comes out. So I get stuff from a lot of the congressional committees. I get stuff from USTR. I get stuff from, other firms in DC. So a lot of the stuff that I gather is stuff that I've subscribed to so that I can get differing and, stuff directly from the government, but also speculation stuff from other people. So I try to absorb all of that. And then, of course, having discussions, with people and, where we are with all of this. And because you can't always 100% agree with everything you read. And if the current administration is Republican, most of the stuff that comes out is going to be biased Republican. Is that necessarily the way everybody believes it is? It isn't necessarily true. So I try to balance it. I get stuff from, Republican sources and from Democratic sources so that I can make sure that I hear both sides. So gathering a lot of information and having a lot of meetings. I try, again, to have discussions with everybody to make sure I understand where everything is.
Christine, do you like baking shows or something happy?
Yeah, you need an extreme opposite of this.
I know.
Baking shows is no. So to answer your question, I like shows or movies or things that I can escape.
Exactly.
Things that are going to take me away from reality is what I like.
Me too.
So,
Me too.
Yeah.
Did you guys know that there's a Hallmark Channel cruise? So
I'm
people
sure.
who this Hallmark
Only
channel.
you would know that.
No, I found out last week
No,
in
there's
Jacksonville.
there's a
I
bunch
found
of
out
weird
in-
cruises. Like that's
I
like a
found out
common
in
thing now
There's
for
a
Jacksonville.
Star
people to
Trek
do.
cruise.
Like podcast hosts have cruises and stuff. Like
this is
it's a
crazy.
common thing now.
So
Yeah.
I mean, but you know what? These things are really popular because like that Hallmark Channel idea, all of these people just want to escape. The ones we have to worry about are the people with the murder porn that are watching all these murder stuff all the time. It's just like it's crazy. But I'm all about happy watching now. Only happy watching. Happy reading.
Things that take me away, make me escape from what's happening around is what I like. So it changes all the time.
And I like watching the news when it's history. Like I'm really big on watching stuff like the recaps of the decades. I love watching those things. So I'm like, oh, I remember that, or you know what I mean? Like, and then you see a different perspective of what you actually lived. So I'm big on like leave it behind. You know what I mean? Like, okay, how did we overcome this? Because in the end, humans and the animals are all going to overcome all of this stuff, I believe.
So along those lines, like how it was made, that show is really cool. How it was made.
I like how it's made. Yeah, that's a good one.
Those are fun.
Okay. Well, thank you.
You're welcome anytime.
Thank you for coming on. If anyone wants to know what's in it for them, if anyone wants to like window shop becoming a member, how should they contact you?
So
or who should they contact?
We have a website. We are AFIA.org. You can visit the website. My email is Christine@weareafia.org. There's a lot of information on the website. Anyone can give me a call, send me an email, text message, whatever. I'm more than willing to discuss anything. And obviously having people understand the benefits of being a member. And as Mike said before, I mean, there's a lot of things that go into it. I could spend hours talking about all the things that we do. So we want to make sure everyone understands either what they're missing out on or what they didn't know by being a member.
Yeah. I mean, look, if you're the importer of record and you regularly invest in your business, maybe you bought some new refrigeration, maybe you bought a new van, maybe you gave somebody a raise. This is probably the number one most important investment that you can make in your business because your business needs to run. And without the free flow of flowers, that ain't happening so easy. And if it wasn't for this organization, there will be nothing to fall back on. You will be out on an island by yourself, and you'll be trying to figure out who to call and what to do to fix a problem that could be easily dealt with through this association. And I'm telling you from experience. So, of course you need to cut back and be tight and you got to spend the money wisely. But how wise is it not to invest into something this important? The bloodline of your business.
Appreciate
crossing
that,
the border. It's true.
Sing the jingle.
We are AFIA.
AFIA.
No, but it's true, man. It's true. I look at some of these companies, and I've seen companies make all kinds of claims. We're the greatest importer or the biggest or this or that. And they're members. Since then, a lot of them have become members, which I'm happy and excited to see finally. But we do thousands of importers of flowers. Thousands and thousands. I don't think you could put a number on. You could put a number on how many are members, but there's no number you could put on that how many aren't.
Yeah.
So whether you're small, medium, or large, and you're not investing in your business wisely to have something to support you and to help advocate for things getting out of control, wake up, because you're sleeping. You're making a mistake. You're being cheap about the wrong thing.
Thank you, Mike.
Can I get a hallelujah?
I really appreciate you guys allowing me to come on today because it's always interesting to hear what the questions are and, what we want to talk about. So I don't think we've ever talked
questions. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you can, anytime I'm always available.
We need like a special sound effect for when Christine comes on.
She's like the Batman. Like you need the signal.
It's like breaking news kind of vibes.
All right.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Christine.
Put a bow on it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for listening. This has been another really good, deep conversation podcast of the Fresh Bunch. Brian, Mimi, Joelle, our amazing guest, Christine, thank you very much for joining us today and sharing your wealth of knowledge with everybody.
Thank you.